Hi everybody, this is Miss Huball. I'm so sorry I'm not with you today again. Hopefully I'll be back tomorrow. Until then, we've got plenty of work to do. This is the agenda for Tuesday, 9/21. Hopefully today we can accomplish these things. DGP sentence for day 2. We'll work on that first. We'll finalize our works cited page that we worked on yesterday. We'll write intro and body 1 of our night essay and the last 15 minutes of class. We will go to the library and check out Life of Pi, which is the next book that we're going to read. We'll begin with DGP. I've got right here for you the sentence. If you could write it down in your notebook, that would be great. Of course, same sentence as it was yesterday. And that sentence is, well, this is the most extraordinary thing that I ever knew, exclaimed the laird. I'm going to give you a minute to get your DGP out and to write it down. And then we'll start looking for subjects and predicates. While you're shuffling around and writing the sentence, let me remind you that you need to be working on your vocabulary that's due on Friday. On Thursday, we are going to have a quiz on list 1 and list 2. Hopefully when I return tomorrow, we'll be able to go over the sentences for list 2, so we'll be able to study. Also, if you didn't complete your outline or your works cited page, you need to make sure that that is done. You can work in your document offline at home, and then it will save to your Google Drive when you get back to school and have Wi-Fi. So you need to keep up with that. You don't want to get far behind or you'll be unable to complete it by Friday, which is our goal. All right, you should have the sentence written. Let's take a minute real quick to go back and review the DGP that you did yesterday. Yesterday, you were to find the parts of speech. There were 3 verbs. You should have marked is, knew, and exclaimed as your 3 verbs. Is, knew, exclaimed. They're 2 nouns. You should have marked thing as a noun and laird as a noun. Laird is an old-timey word for a landholder, so it's a thing. Pronouns, you've got this and I. This and I are your pronouns. You have 2 articles, both of which are the here, and the here. You've got 1 adjective. Extraordinary tells about thing. That makes extraordinary an adjective. You've got 2 adverbs. Most tells about extraordinary, and ever tells about new. So your 2 adverbs are most and ever. You've got an interjection, well, and a subordinator, that. So that was parts of speech from yesterday. I think you should pause the video now and give yourself a minute to do the subject-predicate pairs and the predicate noun. As you know, subject-predicate pairs are nouns and verbs that are working together. And a predicate noun is explained right here. So stop the video for about 5 minutes, complete day 2 of your DGP, and then get your Chromebook out and open it up to the document that we were working on yesterday with your works cited page. So pause me now and come back to me when you have your works cited document up. Okay, your works cited document should look something like this, except yours has at least 4 entries. This is 1 entry. This is the entry. This is what the entry looks like for the Kilgannon article. Now, there's something important that we didn't do yesterday that we need to do today, and that is to reverse indent each of our works cited entries. Now, what you do to reverse indent is you highlight your first entry. Okay, everybody highlight their first entry like that. Then we're going to go to formatting. We're going to go to align and indent. We're going to go all the way down to indentation options. and we're going to special indent hanging indent. And we're going to hit apply. And when we do that, we achieve a hanging indent, which means the first line is out here and the second line indents. That's called a hanging indent. And you'll repeat that for each step. You'll repeat that for each entry in your works cited page. Now your night entry likely is only one line long, and therefore it won't need to be done this way. But all of the ones that are 2 lines need to be reverse indented. It's called a hanging indent. Let me show you how to do that again. You'll highlight, you go to Format, Align and Indent, Indentation Options, and you'll have to go down here and choose hanging indent and then apply. All right, last thing we need to do is to organize our works cited page in alphabetical order. That means the very first letter of your entry. Okay, so if you have 4 or 5 entries, you need to arrange them in alphabetical order by the first word in the entry. And you'll have to cut and paste them and move them around to get them in ABC order. All right, so I would pause me for about 5 minutes while you go ahead and reverse indent your entries and put them into alphabetical order. And when you come back, you're going to be at the very beginning of this document where you are going to be ready to write your introduction and your body 1. So pause me about 5 minutes and come back when you're ready to start the introduction. Now, we're ready to begin our introduction. So, you're going to begin typing at the top of your document right under where you have your heading. And we're going to begin with our introduction, which has a 3-sentence, whoopsie daisy, sorry about that, a 3-sentence minimum. Okay, so we begin with a hook and then we have a narrowing sentence. And that's going to be about 2 or 3 sentences. So a hook grabs the reader's attention, and there are a lot of ways to write a hook. You could use a quote from one of our readings. You could use the setting the scene, which is kind of telling your reader, imagine, and then you set the scene of what these people encountered in the Holocaust, in a concentration camp. Or maybe you want to start with just some background information. The Holocaust occurred during World War II. Hitler targeted Jews, etc., etc. So there's a lot of different ways to start a hook. You need to decide which of these 3 you want to do. Then you're going to have your thesis, and you've already written a preliminary thesis that uses strong verbs, that mentions resilience and tough times and persecution, and puts your 3 topics in without listing them. Now, some of us still have our thesis with our topics listed, blank, blank, and blank, so we've got to work on that. Now, next slide, I have some examples for you, okay? And whenever you get an idea and you are ready to go, you start writing, okay? So here are some example hook statements. This one uses a quote from Viktor Frankl. It says, as Viktor Frankl once wrote, "He who has a why to live for can bear almost anyhow." McAvoy 4. And that may not be the right page number. I just kind of made that up as I was going. I didn't have it in front of me. So starting with a quote is one way to go. And then you could launch into what that quote means and how it relates to what you're writing about. Here's a setting the scene hook. Imagine being transported days on a hot, cramped cattle car to a hellish reality where children were burned in open pits and human dignity meant nothing. So see, you've kind of set the scene of what it was like for the people that you're about to write about. A third option is to give some background information. Here I've got some background information on genocide. It says, genocide has a long history on this earth, and its survivors have long told tales of mass killings and torture that seem beyond humans' ability to endure. So these are 3 different ways you can start. Now you can't copy mine, but this might give you an idea. You wouldn't do all 3 of these, you would pick one of these to do. So I want you to take about 5 minutes now and write yourself a hook. Go ahead and type it in. And remember, as you're doing your hook, you're trying to grab the reader's attention with something that's going to make us think, or that's going to be really creative, or that's going to be really informative. Next, we've got some sample thesis statements. Okay? Your hook is one sentence that grabs our attention. And then you're going to fill in a couple sentences till you get down to the thesis statement. Now, you've already written a thesis statement, and many of you have excellent thesis statements, but a lot of you are still listing. So I wanted to show you a couple examples of thesis statements that don't have listing. Okay? And maybe you can use some of these ideas to fix your thesis statement so your thesis statement isn't listing. Resilience happens when people cling to positive factors like the future to sustain them, when they emphasize their faith and focus on their work. Do you see how I've got future, faith, and work, but they're not listed? Okay. Exhibiting resilience in the face of unspeakable torture seems impossible, yet those in whom stubborn determination and hope never die often use love as a means of survival. So I've got determination, hope, and love, and I haven't listed them. I've explained a sentence and I've used them in there. When people suffer persecution and tragedy, they cling with hope to things that bring meaning to them to survive, anything from family to work. This sentence has hope, family, and work, but they are not listed. So take about 5 minutes now, stop me, and complete your thesis statement. So you'll have a hook that transitions into a thesis statement. Should be 3 sentences total. And you can start the video again when you've finished your introduction. All right, so if you've got your introduction written, you're ready to move on to body paragraph 1. Body paragraph 1 is already outlined because we worked on our outline last week. However, you got to kind of go ahead and fill in all of the details in writing your body paragraph. So you're going to begin your body paragraph with a topic sentence. It mentions the topic of the paragraph and how it helps to prove your thesis. For example, here's the sample. Oftentimes, resilience comes with hope that trials and tribulations will end and life can again have peace and joy. So this paragraph is all about hope. This paragraph is all about hope. And I've connected hope here to resilience and trials and tribulations. All right? Write a topic sentence now. Okay. If you have written your topic sentence, then, excuse me, I'm not on the right slide. If you have written your topic sentence, then you're ready to move on to the second video. I'm out of time on this video, so I'm going to have to start a second one. So look for that second video coming up next.